The Regional Water Board in 2021 adopted what's being called Ag Order 4.0. These new regulations not only include targets for nitrogen fertilizer applications, but more importantly, a deadline for significantly reducing irrigation and storm water discharges into drains, creeks, and streams. That deadline is 2032 for most constituents and water bodies on the Central Coast.
Preservation Inc., on behalf of its member growers, is required by the Central Coast Water Board to develop an on-the-ground program to meet surface water requirements in Ag Order 4.0. The surface water implementation approach has 5 objectives. The first, identify and abate the source of water quality impacts. Next, evaluate the impact of irrigated agricultural waste discharges on receiving waters. Then, evaluate the condition of streams and riparian and wetland areas, including degradation, resulting from erosion or irrigated agricultural discharges of waste. Next, evaluate compliance with numeric limits described in the order. And finally, identify follow-up actions including outreach, education, additional monitoring, reporting, and management practice implementation that will be implemented to achieve compliance with the numeric limits described in the order. These objectives are intended to address the main surface water impairments that can originate from irrigated agriculture: nutrients, toxicity, and turbidity.
In Ag Order 4.0, the results from sampling of 55 surface water sites on the Central Coast since 2005 were used as the basis to rank each of those watersheds from highest to lowest level of impairment. This ranking uses a combined score of those 3 types of impairments: nitrate, an indicator of fertilizer in water; toxicity to test organisms, an indicator of pesticides in water; and turbidity, an indicator of eroded soil in water. Each watershed is ranked as high, medium, or low priority, creating a baseline to gauge changes over time.
After the initial watershed boundaries and rankings were completed, Preservation Inc. staff visited the watersheds and ranches encompassed in each to ground truth the boundaries and drainages.
These watershed boundaries don't rely just on a computer model. It's actually based on prior work in each watershed, and we're constantly working with growers to make the boundaries more accurate. We know that almost all of the ranches in the high priority watersheds have some form of discharge.
Self-reporting by growers of ranches with irrigation runoff, or tailwater, was also used in the watershed analysis.
In the high priority watersheds, most ranches have at least stormwater discharge. Many also have irrigation runoff and or tile drain discharge. And all high priority watersheds have a very high frequency of exceedances of water quality objectives at the downstream monitoring sites.
Because of the history of problems in Central Coast waterways, Ag Order 4.0 includes new numeric limits that are based on a federal Clean Water Act concept called Total Maximum Daily Loads, or TMDLs. Some of the new limits are based on wet season conditions such as stormwater runoff. Others are for the dry season, when more of the impairments are transported by irrigation runoff from fields.
Operators of ranches located in high-priority watersheds were notified in June 2024, informing them of the new requirements.
The notification let our members in high-priority watersheds know that to remain a participant in Preservation Inc.'s Surface Water Follow-Up Program, they would need to have an introductory meeting and an in-person outreach visit with us in 2024.
These one-on-one introductory meetings and in-person ranch visits included training on how to self-assess runoff leaving a field or ranch for water quality impacts. In early 2025, another Preservation Inc. communication notified members in high-priority watersheds that each ranch needs to have a sediment and erosion management plan, or SEMP. The SEMP is an element of the Farm Water Quality Management Plan, or Farm Plan, required by Ag Order 4.0.
Each ranch needs to have a SEMP, and the SEMP needs to meet minimum criteria in order for the ranch to continue as a participant in this program. Preservation Inc. didn't invent the idea of a SEMP, nor the requirement to have one. Those are actually Ag Order requirements that apply to every farm on the Central Coast. We just realized that a lot of farms don't have one, and they can be an important management tool. So we want to make sure that our members in high priority watersheds have this tool and can get help to create one if they need it.
For ranches in high priority watershed, each SEMP needs to be submitted to Preservation Inc. for review. And what if a SEMP is inadequate or not being followed?
We first want to make sure that everyone has a SEMP and that it is complete enough to really help with management. Our first step is to ask members with incomplete SEMPs to revise them. And after that, the expectation is that for any discharges that still exist, they will implement new and increased management practices. Those management practices could be used to prevent the discharge from developing in the first place, or to contain a discharge so it doesn't leave the ranch boundary, or to treat discharge that does leave so that it doesn't impair water quality or erode stream banks downstream. However, Preservation Inc. will not be prescribing management practices. For this program to continue to shield participants from individual enforcement by the Water Board, the ranch managers need to select and implement effective management practices. If that doesn't happen, we'll lose the ability to have this program.
If drainage treatment or containment capacity is not an option, then practices need to focus on managing the sources of the contamination: pesticides, nutrients, and sediment leaving the field.
We're using the SEMP as a management tool so that we can maintain a list of ranches that are in good standing, that are fulfilling and implementing the requirements of the program.
So what happens in 2032 when the deadline arrives?
Right now, we're more focused on what happens in 2026 and 2028. The Ag Order and really the Clean Water Act itself require interim numeric milestones. In 2026, our milestone is for every ranch in the high priority watersheds to have a SEMP that is complete according to our standards and to be implementing those plans. In 2028, we're on the hook for a 50% improvement in water quality at close to 20 of our 55 downstream monitoring sites. That means big reductions in nutrients, toxicity, and turbidity.
In coming months, the focus at Preservation Inc. will be encouraging growers to implement the SEMP on ranches in all high priority watersheds.
If we fail to meet our 50% milestone in 2028, we expect to start seeing consequences from the Water Board well in advance of 2032.
Those consequences could include ranches being removed from Preservation Inc.'s follow-up program and ultimately doing individual ranch-level monitoring that is reported directly to the Regional Water Board.
Language in Ag Order 4.0 says, based on exceedances of applicable surface water quality limits, the executive officer may require a discharger to conduct ranch-level surface discharge monitoring, which must be explicitly designed and implemented to assess and quantify the discharges contributing to the exceedances of applicable surface water quality limits.
Preservation Inc. provides a program for our members that allows them to meet the surface water follow-up requirements with the third party in a more collaborative environment and with a level of privacy, rather than having to do it more publicly and directly with the Regional Water Board.
A Cures video production.